Hi everyone. This week you're going to focus on Chapter 16, and Chapter 16 is the chapter on varieties of sexual expression. And that is a good way of describing sexual behaviors that are likely not practiced by a large percentage of the American population, probably not likely practiced in much of the world's population. But it's interesting to understand the different types of sexual practices that people engage in and try to understand why they like to engage in these types of things. I would like you to keep an open mind, and while I'm not suggesting that you need to think about going out and trying some of these things one day, I am suggesting that you keep an open mind and try to understand why some people might want to engage in these practices. Also in this chapter, you'll learn about the American Psychiatric Association's definition of paraphilias. And paraphilia is a term that is used by the American Psychiatric Association to describe sexual practices that cause an individual anxiety, that interfere with normal relationships with others, and that may interfere with work even. And so that if an individual presents him or herself to a psychiatrist and says, hey, look, I'm engaging in this sexual practice and it causes me anxiety, and my relationships with others are suffering, and my work is suffering, then a psychiatrist would likely label that behavior a paraphilia and then would discuss treatment options with the individual. But of course, there is controversy over that. There are some people who believe that various sexual practices should not be considered a mental health issue, even if a person expresses that he or she is feeling some sort of anxiety over it. So you'll write a brief paper after having read some information and links that I've provided regarding this controversy, and weigh in on what you think of this controversy. You'll also participate in a blog discussion that seeks to challenge you a bit about your own deeply held convictions or beliefs about what is normal sexual practice. And you'll be able to weigh in on a scenario that I give you, and then see what others have to think, and trade some opinions with others. So all in all, I think this is a really interesting chapter. And again, I hope that you keep an open mind and just try to understand. It doesn't mean you have to, as I said, seek to go out and try any of these things, but just trying to understand that while you might not want to try any of these things, that doesn't mean that there is necessarily something wrong with people who do. So I will see you at the next chapter.